Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a profound mystery of human behavior. We are going to unpack how those ancient, hardwired survival mechanisms deep inside your brain are secretly sabotaging your modern life. We're going to look at exactly why we do the things we do, or more accurately, why we absolutely refuse to do the things we know we should. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever just stared at an important email and completely ignored it? Or maybe you've purposefully avoided checking your bank account balance because you just didn't want to know? Or, maybe you've put off making a difficult phone call, telling yourself, yeah, I'll just do it tomorrow. You might look at this behavior and think, wow, I'm just lazy, or that you lack discipline. But what's actually happening beneath the surface is a profound, deeply ingrained biological reaction. Look, we need to completely reframe this guilt you might be feeling. Your brain is not trying to make you fail. It really isn't. Your avoidance is actually one of the oldest, most wildly successful survival mechanisms ever created by evolution. Avoidance isn't some character flaw, it's a highly evolved biological protective shield. Picture this. Imagine you're living 100,000 years ago. Avoiding the unknown literally kept our ancestors alive. I mean, if you heard a sudden rustling in the bushes, the humans who stayed away, they survived to pass on their genes. The fearless explorers who went to investigate, they probably met a hungry predator. But fast forward to today, that exact same ancient alarm system is still active in your head, but now it misinterprets a looming work deadline or even just an unread email as a literal life or death threat. Our world evolved incredibly fast, but our nervous systems, well, they haven't quite caught up yet. There is a foundational rule of human psychology that explains all of this. Your brain absolutely hates uncertainty. When an outcome is unpredictable, your brain doesn't just get mildly curious. It treats that gap in knowledge as a literal physical threat. Because the brain loves certainty and demands predictable outcomes to keep you safe, it has to do something when faced with the unknown. So, what does it do? It instantly fills in the blanks with the absolute worst-case scenarios. It imagines that sending that risky message or applying for that ambitious job is going to end in absolute disaster. And once it paints that terrifying picture for you, it offers up a quick, comforting, and highly effective solution. Just avoid it entirely. Now, there is some fascinating science behind why that avoidance feels so incredibly good. It comes down to a psychological process called negative reinforcement. When you dread a big presentation and decide to, say, open up social media and start scrolling instead, your anxiety instantly drops. And in that exact moment, your brain releases a massive hit of dopamine. You are literally being chemically rewarded for running away. And this brings us to a highly addictive cycle known as the avoidance loop. It goes like this. Step 1, you feel anxiety about a task. Step 2, you escape to a distraction. Step 3, you experience instant relief. And step 4, which is honestly the most dangerous part, your brain learns that avoidance works. You see, you aren't scrolling on your phone because that content is actually important to you. You're doing it because escaping discomfort feels so rewarding that your brain begins systematically choosing short-term relief over your long-term growth. But here is the crazy, counterintuitive twist to all of this. Every single time you avoid something, you aren't fixing the fear. You are actually providing undeniable proof to your ancient brain that the danger was absolutely real. You are essentially telling your nervous system, yep, that email was a predator, and running away just saved our lives. Think about it like someone who's terrified of elevators. If they avoid the elevator and take the stairs, sure, they temporarily feel safe, but they've just taught their brain that the elevator truly is a threat, causing their baseline fear to grow even stronger. Soon, even just seeing an elevator sparks panic. And the exact same thing happens with every difficult conversation or big opportunity you dodge. It becomes scarier because your brain only updates its software through actual physical experience, not through your imagination. Which brings up a really fascinating paradox. Why do incredibly smart, capable people frequently avoid massive goals and success? We so often think avoidance equals weakness or a lack of intelligence, but that's a complete myth. In reality, a lot of brilliant people avoid success because success itself creates exposure. Think about it. It brings the potential for intense criticism, higher expectations, and a much brighter spotlight. Because if you never try, you never have to discover your true limits. You remain completely safe from the pain of trying your absolute hardest and still falling short. Meaning, your brain will actually prefer a familiar, quiet disappointment over an unfamiliar, unpredictable possibility. Your comfort zone becomes a prison, not because it's comfortable. Honestly, often it's quite miserable, but simply because it is predictable. And this ancient programming heavily impacts our social lives too. To an ancient human, being rejected by the tribe wasn't just embarrassing, it meant a loss of protection, starvation, and literal death. Fast forward to today, your modern nervous system still reacts to the idea of posting a vulnerable thought online, asking someone out, or speaking up in a corporate meeting as if you are about to be exiled into the unforgiving wilderness. The stakes feel like life and death, because biologically speaking, they used to be. Your ancient brain whispers these little lies that people might not like you, that you might be judged, convincing you to stay silent and stay safe. And it works. You absolutely avoid the judgment. But in the process, you become entirely invisible. You completely shrink your life just to fit inside a tiny box of safety. All right, but we have reached an empowering turning point here. The good news is that your brain is highly adaptable. It can absolutely be rewired. But the realization you need to make is that the cure for this deeply rooted avoidance is never waiting for motivation to strike. It is entirely about taking microscopic action. So here is the exact blueprint for rewriting that ancient code. Step 1, you take a micro action. You don't write the whole essay. You literally just open the document. Step 2, this tiny action proves to your brain in real time that the situation wasn't actually dangerous. No predator attacked you when the document opened. And step 3, confidence is finally allowed to grow. We have this entirely backwards in our society. Don't wait for confidence to strike before you act. Confidence is the absolute result of taking a small action that proves your safety. Look at the profound shift in perspective here. When you have an avoidance focus, like trying to write a whole book or exercising for a full hour, your brain calculates the massive energy required and immediately panics. But when you adopt a micro-action focus, writing just one single sentence or walking for exactly 5 minutes, you bypass the brain's alarm system entirely. By shifting your focus from a massive, intimidating project to a task so embarrassingly small you literally can't say no, you weaken the fear and slowly make the terrifying feel completely normal. So listen. Avoidance doesn't mean you're lazy, and it certainly doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you inherited a brain meticulously built for survival in a harsh world that no longer exists. Our ancestors survived by avoiding danger, but in the modern world, we only grow by intentionally facing discomfort. Every courageous step you take, no matter how microscopic, physically rewrites that ancient code.
Which brings us to one final thought for this explainer. As you reflect on the projects, the conversations, and the opportunities you've been putting off, I want to leave you with this one provocative question to carry with you. What kind of life is your avoidance ultimately costing you? Because the greatest opportunities in your life are sitting quietly, just on the other side of the things your ancient brain is begging you to avoid. Thanks for joining me, and I challenge you to take one microscopic action today.